maybe it's a block in my own head or closed-mindedness, right? Of I don't want to do this particular stretch because I don't like stretch. Like, I have zero interest in it. What I do have interest in is moving better, but again, with some of the mobility stuff and mobility drills, I feel like the payoff is so low. With what you just showed me, it wouldn't make sense for me to not do it.
Okay, so today at the SuperTraining gym, I saw Mark walk in the door, and what we had was a little bit of lateral sling problems, which I would call. So, and he doesn't really know what that is yet. We're going to explain that to him. And then what's going to transpire is athletically, I would let him know what would his problems be, his ability to change direction. I'm sure he's good straight ahead, but right now his ability to change direction is not optimized, and that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to optimize him today with a little bit of RPR, show him how to take care of himself, because that's our goal. We're going to hit his key points, teach him RPR today so that he can have a great understanding of how to manage his own pain, his own injury prevention, and everything along those guidelines so he can keep training hard. Just watching Mark walk today, I saw that he's going to have some lat issues. People say, well, how can his lats be off because they're nice and big? Well, what he'll probably have is some tendonitis because his arms are going to have to do all the work that his lats normally would do because his lats aren't on. By seeing him walk, his lateral sling's off. So, and I think it has to do with his feet. He has mentioned that he's had feet problems in the past, and then what that does is it causes the hip to lock down in certain areas, which then can cause a tight back. So these are things that hopefully we're going to have Mark be able to loosen himself up with the RPR methods, and then we can even talk about things that are happening in his training. If he does a certain exercise, I'll know why he may seem unstable or he has a hitch in some various things because of these things that we just saw him do by just walking. These are years of my experiences watching athletes perform and train and fixing problems, but we're going to cover those today for Mark.
So bringing it around town.
Well, the lateral sling is a kinetic chain from your foot that runs up through this hip. It's the whole network of muscles, and then what it does is that kinetic chain crosses over the hip, goes to this lat area in this arm. So when this foot's on the ground, your body uses this leg to stabilize, but this side of your upper body. So we say lateral sling. This is like when these hip muscles are off or that arch isn't effective and not supporting Mark's weight, he will instantly raise this arm out when he's running to support all this instability, okay? But that's not optimal for speed, and especially when you're running with your athletes. And then knee pain can transpire because this foot is now a board and not a spring to help him support his weight when he runs.
Does this go across the back as well?
Yes, well, it sneaks up to the back, lateral sling here. We got shoulder and then the arm. And a lot of times, athletes that their lats aren't working will have tendonitis right here. Is that irritated? Yes. Right? Because
Blown it twice, right?
you've blown this twice? That's beautiful. Yeah. So this lat, if the lats aren't working optimally, when he does a pull-up, you use more arms, which makes it harder. But that's when you start to get tendonitis right here, bicep issues, and shoulder pain proximal, or bicep pain proximal, distal, and shoulder. Okay? So you see these signs that I've already talked to you about. And then when he's just walking towards me, he walked with his palms forward, like this, versus...
I'm trying to be intimidating.
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah. He's really scary. So let's jump up here real quick. Head down there on your back. The lateral sling, remember, is this hip musculature that runs all the way down and all the way across the upper body. So what I'm going to do is check abduction, adduction, okay? And what we're going to do, Mark, is I'm going to hold your leg out there. You're going to hold it there,
okay,
and you're not going to let me push it in, okay? Ready? Hold. Strong guy, but he doesn't have a whole lot. Ready? One more time. Ready? Is that all you got?
I got nothing.
Okay. So he's got nothing. All right. So let's check the other side. Ready?
This side will be worse.
Hold. And he's officially right. Okay. That side, there's not much. Now, why is lateral sling important? We'll talk through a couple things, but his stability. If he was going to jog at us, towards us, what happens if this musculature here in the hip can't support you? You will sneak this foot underneath you. So when people run, one foot placed in front of the other, this is a sign the lateral sling's off, which then is also tell me that his lat was off, okay? So we'll do abduction. So I'm gonna turn in your leg, and I'm gonna pull out, just see how strong your groin is, okay? Ready? Hold. Nothing there, right? You hurt that at one point? Yep.
Yeah, this side.
Okay. And now we're gonna turn this leg in and pull out. Ready? Hold. there's really not much there as strong as he is. Now, where in sports is this important? If he would go change directions, he can't change directions as well as he normally could. If he's going to try to block somebody in football, his body won't let his hips get super low because there's no stability, so he'll play higher, okay? So we're going to try to get him to fix these problems himself. You want to sit up?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, even just being more efficient, period, though, with my squats and the movements that I am doing,
Everything.
right? It's just going to be
So
improved.
here's the crazy thing. If one of these were bad and one was good, when he squat, let's say your right one is good and your left one's bad, what will happen when you squat, you would come down and then this one turns on and it'll hit you. You'll hitch to the right. So then what you know is the left side's bad. So in RPR, one of the quick fixes I'll have my athletes do if I see them squatting and they shift at the bottom, is all they would do is stand here and pound on this. And they'll go back in the next rep, and guess what happens? It stabilizes it, okay? So there's two things that can be, here's my big thing, the two things that can be wrong with the lateral sling. It can be the hip, or the main cause can be the feet, and it's really the arch. So what we're going to have Mark do is we're going to have him work on his arch reset, the RPR reset, which starts at the middle of the calf, right to the head of this bone, and you're just going to rub on the inside, nice and hard, right through there. Do you feel how uncomfortable that is? I want you to rub really hard.
Got it.
Just, yep.
It's just kind of right in here.
Yep, right up there. It's just from the very top of the midline of the calf all the way across. Ooh. Yep, got it. Go ahead. Now just dig. Yeah, just dig in with your thumb. And then just go just about 2 or 3 inches all the way across.
Damn.
So let's lay back and just see if this one's turned on. All right. So let's see if he created any stability by accident. Ready? Hold. You feel that?
Yeah.
He locks. He can now stabilize his hip. So before he had nothing. He was probably a 2 or 3 on a 10 scale. Hold. And he locks in. Do you feel how fast you lock in?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Let's see if his groin's better. Ready? Internally rotate. Ready? Hold. There you go. Okay. So he had an arch problem, which can cause hip problems. Because if this arch collapses again every time he hits the ground, his body will lock down and shut off various muscles in his hip. Okay? So I want you to do the other side.
Yep.
And then we're going to get you up and walk. Okay?
It's weird because back here, I'm not feeling a lot. But I mean, it's not comfortable because I'm digging my thumb into the back of my knee, you know. But it's not insane.
And this is his first time. We're going to let him crank on a little bit. Normally, it takes like 3 to 5 seconds. Once he gets used to it, your body will activate really quick. Just make sure you get up to right around there. You feel it? Okay. So then let's test him. Okay.
That to describe that, it just feels like my skin is being like irritated, almost like an Indian burn. Like it feels like that. If I'm allowed to say Indian burn.
Yeah. I would say you go in there and you push how hard? Probably until you feel like a little resistance back on the tissue.
Right.
I tell people like you push into a steak. Okay, so you push into a steak and feel where it resists. And then the next thing you would do is just make sure to make it so maybe you don't get so much burn. Some people like rub over the skin. I want you to grab the skin and just push in so that you don't scrape the skin. You stay on the same spot and move the skin a little bit, okay? So you would move the skin like that versus going like this, okay? So let's see if we helped with his stability. Ready? Hold. And we locked it in. Now this is a groin injured, right?
Yeah.
So we may not have any luck because there's an old injury, but we'll see if ready? Hold. It's not as good, but it's way better.
Yeah.
It's not perfect like that one. Does that make sense? Now, I want you to get up. I want you to walk and see if you feel. Just take a quick
I
walk.
feel like a new woman. Oh yeah, that feels really weird.
So when he walked before, they were more in line like this, and now when he walking, we haven't fixed the whole thing, but the hands have turned out so that now he has more stability.
I don't feel like I'm walking. It feels like I'm almost like floating. It feels really strange.
Looks like he woke up from
So
a
you
20
said it.
nap.
Okay, you said it. The only thing we touch the ground when we walk is our feet.
You're right.
And your arches were weak. And that turned on the arches, okay? So now, how long's it
Now
gonna-
I got something for my 10-minute walks.
Yeah, right before.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then, let's turn on the hips. Okay, so the hip reset is, I just want you to go on the inside of the PSI, the ASIS, and just kind of rub right inside there. You feel that area right there? Just rub right inside there, and that'll actually reiterate and activate the hip musculature.
Oh, it makes me feel like I'm barf a little bit.
It should be good on that side, and then the other side on the inside, just right there.
Got it.
Good. Now, if we checked his balance, it would be better. I couldn't mock him off his. If he could play lower as an athlete, because his body, so the problem is if your foot's unstable in your arch, your body will not let you get as low as you can because it's a protective mechanism, okay? Because your body says this is a bad position, so you'll have to play higher, and then you can't make changes in direction, all right?
So maybe even setting up for a deadlift, maybe I can get my hips a little lower.
Exactly, because the body's saying this is not a good position, I'm unstable. Can I help you with your walking?
Absolutely.
A little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So I want to teach you one thing. So here's the deal. I want you to do an RDL, take your toes, and let's just do a straight leg deadlift or an RDL. Keep your toes up the whole time. 2 reps, see how it feels. Yep, got it. So now, Mark, I want you to go down, and I want you to take that foot, and I want you to, on your way up, I want you to grab that toe and have it squeeze into the ground as hard as you can, and then on the way up, after you squeeze, come up and see what you feel.
So toes.
Go down on the way, yep, toes down. Now squeeze hard with your toes. Yep, squeeze hard and push them in the ground, break the ground, and then come up. Feel your glutes turn on?
Yeah.
Okay. One more time. Toes up, squeeze, toes down. Feel your glutes turn on?
Yeah, feels like I'm gonna almost like run.
Run, exactly. So when you walk, I need your toe to grab the ground and push you forward.
I just have some crappy positioning too, like when I go to do a squat, like if I don't have like 315 on, then I it's hard for me to get the parallel.
Well, let's get him on the table. Let's see if his glutes turn on. So let's lay face down and see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check Mark to see how his glutes are activated, see if they are. So we're going to lift your leg straight up. We're going to keep your knee bent. Okay, so lift this leg straight up as high as you can. All right, that's what we got. I'm going to push down and just resist. Ready? You hold. Okay, big strong guy. I haven't seen much glutes. Did you go as hard as you can?
Yep.
All right, let's go one more time just to make sure. Ready? Up. And I'm pushing down. Okay, there's not much there. I would give you about a 2, 3 out of 10. All right, ready? Lift up. Hold. There's not much there anyway, either. Okay, so you got nice glutes, right?
Thank you.
Here's what we're gonna do. We talked about the toe when you walk, correct? Mark, all I want you to do is squeeze your toe into the ground, nice and hard, lift this up. Ready? Up. Lift this up. Ready? He's holding me off the table. You feel that?
Yep.
So this toe, by squeezing this toe, his glutes went from a 2 to a solid 10. So this is why the walking is so important, okay? Let's try the other side. So he was a 2. He's going to lift up, squeeze that toe super hard. Ready? I can't break him. So now, just by squeezing the toe, and we haven't even done RPR yet, by squeezing the toe on every exercise my athletes do that has to do with extension, they squeeze that toe in the ground, it re-educates that glute pattern, and it activates it so that they now are activating their glute correctly. So now what we'll do is we'll have you work on your RPR spot for the glutes, okay? So if you want to jump up here, what we're going to do is the first one is just right behind the ear, okay? Right underneath the jaw, kind of right behind if you were going to fish hook. It's right here, and you're just going to push pressure forward, and you're going to dig in right there. You feel that?
I certainly do.
Yeah, it's a beauty. So you're just going to hit that area right there, and then make it hurt. You feel that? I wouldn't say make it hurt, but like it's probably going to be a little discomfortable. Yeah, and the only reason is once your glutes become dialed in, this hurts a lot less. Ooh. Now hit the other side.
What's right there?
Well, I can cover that. So there's 2 spots. And the reason we think this is one of the spots, as a baby, when you're born, your first extension pattern is to root for food. So the second spot is the skull, the base of the skull. So your first extension pattern as a baby is to root for food. So what we do is we have you hit your skull, and then the second hip extension pattern, or the extension pattern that you just hit, was is that you would do as a baby is open your mouth to feed. And that's the area you just hit, was those activations. Now the next one is we're going to go right behind at the base of the skull, and you're going to go all the way across the base of the skull over to the ear. So you're just going to rub. If you want to rub, you're just going to rub from right here, the center point. You can use both hands to hit, and you're just going to go underneath the base of the skull, right on the edge, so that you're going into like the skull of the bone right here on the edge, and your neck muscles all the way across. So hit that yourself. Yep. Let's jump up and see if your glutes are on now, okay? Because we had to use the toe to turn the glutes on before, remember? Now, I'm gonna test your glutes. Mark, I don't want you to use that toe problem, okay? I just want you to lift this up. Ready? Lift. Ready? He's a rock solid 10. They're as strong as they look now. His glutes, he just activated it himself within 60 seconds. It doesn't need to take that long. Lift up. Ready? You feel the difference?
Yep, absolutely.
Now you can do that and squeeze your toe. Ready? Lift up. You can't move them. So let's jump up. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna have you walk. I want you to squeeze your toe and feel your glutes.
My back feels loosened up quite a bit too.
Right?
Yeah.
Take a walk. So his glutes turned on. And you can see he probably feels a little lighter. He's got more spring in his step. He'll be a little bit more erect. He's using his glutes to push himself forward and not his hamstrings to pull himself forward. So hopefully, if you wanted to do these hip circle exercises with the slingshot, you would activate your glutes, go through RPR, and then now do them. Hey, make sure you squeeze your toe when you do the exercises. Right. Every extension.
Feels like the band is like nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Once that's all activated. And when you're squatting, you're trying to grab the ground a bit too.
Yeah, with your toes, for sure.
Oh yeah, knee pain went away.
The knee pain goes away mainly because the compensation patterns that existed. Now that we have the muscles firing in the right sequences, then what happens is that pain basically many times will dissipate.
What I really like about to be able to kind of see the difference is if we can have him squatting and you can actually see his hamstrings immediately start to turn on because they're going to be stretched, opposed to being pulled here and just bracing not to turn off.
This feels like it's just a completely different movement.
Can you turn to the side and kind of do your squats again?
Feet into the ground.
So what I'm seeing is just this when he's squatting. How much more activation there is in that by just being able to kind of push his hips back and move a little bit more, because his quads and his hips aren't stopping him this way, and he's basically just trying not to break.
When we have that glute, the hamstrings have to do their job,
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
But if the glute's not there, then the hip flexors stabilize and the quads do a lot of the work, yes.
Feels awesome.
Right?
Feels like I got a new toy to play with.
But remember, Mark, if you can walk correctly the rest of the day, you're going to start to ingrain that pattern so it's natural, right? So it becomes natural. And then you won't have to hit your arch reflex eventually. You won't have to spend many hours or a lot of time warming up, I should say. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because how many hours you spend over the course of 2-3 months training cycle warming up? I mean, it's forever.
Right.
Now we can cut that down. You build a little bit more resilience towards stress.
I've had a lot of people show me a lot of different things. What it does for me, the reward isn't great enough for me to mess around with the time it takes to do it. Or at least maybe it's a block in my own head or closed-mindedness, right? Of I don't want to do this particular stretch because I don't like stretch. Like I have zero interest in it. What I do have interest in is moving better, but again, with some of the mobility stuff and mobility drills, I feel like the payoff is so low. With what you just showed me, it wouldn't make sense for me to not do it.
Right.
Because it was so simple, it didn't require much, and it changed a lot of components of how I feel instantly.
Yes. I usually spend about 3 minutes with my athletes at all levels. We just go over it. All the RPR, there's about 12 different spots. It takes about 3 minutes.